Welcome back to Cape Critiquers. Today we finish off the Lord of the Rings trilogy with Lord of the Rings: Return of the King.
Yes.
Extended version.
Yeah, the extended
You watched
version.
it this time?
I did.
That's a commitment.
I felt like this one I definitely should.
You like number 2 in the series. This was my favorite.
I'd probably say this one is also my favorite.
It's a very long movie. There's a lot of action in this movie and a lot of information coming at you, but I really enjoyed this one. I really did.
I felt like it was easier to follow than 2.
Again, they explored like power and corruption in a lot of ways with Sauron. I guess not as much because he fucking died in like
He
almost
fucking
opening
dies
scene.
horribly in this
Yeah.
guy. So bad.
So, all right, what I was talking about with telling you guys to watch the Two Towers extended cut, that is the scene I thought was in it.
Oh,
okay.
Gotcha.
He doesn't,
He
yeah,
doesn't. Yeah.
which is weird that they don't show it.
A portion of what happens in this movie happens in the Two Towers book, not in the third book.
Yeah. Their arrival to Shelob, I think, right?
Yeah.
Which I think it's a good split, honestly.
Yeah, the Shelob stuff, I fucking remember that happening so much earlier. Maybe it's just because I never watched the extended. Maybe I have to push back so much farther.
I feel like it works better for the Two Towers to split it, but not for this, you know? Because it is a bit of a weird opening, I think.
Yeah, when they cut away from Sam, Frodo, and Gollum into like everything else, I was a little bit jarred, but
Yeah.
I didn't mind it. There's a few times where it happens where I was like, okay, it was a little...
Because it is
jarring.
just weird to like show the final ending to Saruman's like Isengard battle in this movie instead of the last one. So.
Yeah. The time where I felt like it worked best is actually after Frodo is webbed up, and then it cuts to Faramir being carried in, like seemingly also incapacitated.
Well, what did we think of Denethor like falling apart under pressure?
Yeah, just like a really shitty fucking character.
Yeah.
Well, good like shitty character, but it's, I don't know, it's like such like a hard to watch thing.
Especially like actually just almost gross at points with like how he's eating food.
Yeah, that was a total meltdown.
Yeah.
You know.
Apparently in the books he like had another Palantir, so that's interesting.
That whole scene was like, you just wanted to get up and like wrench his neck, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And it just went on. You can really feel the pressure in that.
Fucking like telling people to quit.
Yeah, I love when Gandalf stepped in and became like General Gandalf.
Yeah.
Just knocked him away.
But even Pippin was pretty good in this scene. No, like trying to, what are you doing? Knowing that he's definitely not in the right to say anything.
This movie gives everyone something to do, except for Legolas. But like Merry and Pippin finally like get their arcs. I guess, in this one.
I mean, I'd even say Gimli too there. You know,
Yeah.
They're probably the least useful in this movie.
Gimli and Legolas are kind of just not doing shit in this movie.
Yeah, just like enforcers, I guess.
Legolas does get like a cool surfing scene where he surfs around the elephant.
He was almost
Because
like
he's very light-footed.
he's like an Errol Flynn type of guy in this movie.
He can walk on snow.
Yeah, he can walk on snow.
Like kind of like Tarzan a bit.
I thought those elephant scenes were actually pretty cool. I mean, those things.
I did too.
Pretty
it was
wild.
like that whole battle was well paced in the sense of like back and forth punches. I felt like.
But even when it first started, he's like, "How the hell are we gonna win this? These things are gigantic, and they're all on top." They
Carl
played it off
Urban
pretty well.
figures it
The way
out.
that they knocked them down.
I'd say my biggest issue with that battle is the ending. I hate the arrival of the dead men.
Of the
Why?
the way
It's
it
just
happened.
like I like it as like this is a cool show of force, but like I don't like it as in it just takes away from the sacrifices that the humans made, and it just didn't feel like too much work was put into like actually getting them.
They do get them pretty easily.
Yeah. Like it doesn't feel like that
Well,
much
they
of a
already
struggle.
made the vow.
I know, but like
And they just never fulfilled it.
They just didn't fulfill it. And he was just calling them on it.
it doesn't feel like gained for me or earned, you know?
Yeah.
Because like he just earns it by being him, you know?
Well, he
He's
has
the guy.
sword.
I guess still.
Yeah, and don't forget, when they first didn't honor it, they were alive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now it's 500 years of being dead. Maybe there's a little negotiation that
stuck where they
Stuck
are,
where
being
they
what they are.
Yeah.
You know?
So all right, we're fuck ups, but if you promise to let us go,
We'll fight for you.
No,
I think
don't
it makes sense why they would take it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, they're fucking nothing else.
Yeah.
They were building it up for quite some time. Like they would need some kind of other force.
I guess, but still, it's just like it doesn't feel earned to me at all.
Yeah.
And there's definitely a lot of sacrifice in this movie. You know.
Yeah.
I really like shit like the opening to the fight. Rohan like arrives and like
Yeah.
running through them with the
Yeah, they
horses.
charge at the beginning and
Yeah.
like going up with the swords on everybody's sword. It's great opening. But Sam and Frodo's relationship is just like perfect in this movie again.
yeah.
I really like
Yeah.
it the most in this movie, I think.
Yeah, I think I like it the best in this one just because Sam like finally shines in this one like
Mhm.
fully. Like he's definitely
Well, after he has the breakdown,
Yeah.
and then he comes charging back. I mean,
Yeah.
he saved the day for God's sakes,
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure like the whole thing of like Gollum manipulating Frodo is
Mhm.
like an invention for this movie.
Really? Yeah, that whole thing with the bread. Yeah, and he finds it then after he walks all the way down, then he walked all the way back up
Yeah.
again.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know, that whole scene in that cave with
Shelob.
Spider.
Oh my
Shelob,
god, I
yeah.
hate that.
That
Yeah.
that just had me on
Well,
edge the whole time.
The
I hate
first
that.
spider isn't Shelob. It's just like one of her kids or something.
Mhm.
Really?
Yeah, it's significantly smaller. The one that finds him in the cave.
Oh.
But didn't Bilbo at one point fight her?
Yeah, I think so.
She is such a fucking interesting character to me. 'Cause
She's an
there's,
interesting
like,
character.
so much
yeah.
lore between her and Gollum, and like her mom was also like a giant spider creature, but she was a spirit that like possessed that form,
Huh.
and she like did something, and like it's like the first age or the second age or something that like helped cause like significant darkness.
Huh.
So
Interesting.
it's very interesting lore behind
Yeah.
that character.
Well, and Sam wounded it and sent it
Yeah.
into.
She's like known as one of the like foulest like beasts,
Mhm.
basically. Like she doesn't eat the orc. I read because like they don't taste good.
They don't taste good.
She does. She just like didn't think Gollum tasted good or like would taste good. She's like, fuck it. Like I guess like he's promised me something.
Mm-hmm.
So then like apparently Gollum built rapport with her by like luring things in there and
Mhm.
letting
Oh,
her
wow.
eat them.
What do you think would happen if she got the ring?
I actually read up on that too.
Wow.
Gollum's plan to lure Sam and Frodo in there to kill them and get the ring. He just assumed that she had no interest in the ring.
Oh,
Yeah.
so if
But doesn't he say, like, basically when he's having that thing between, himself, that he would go through the bones
Yeah.
and find the ring?
Hmm.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
When there's a
Do you
pile
think
of
he's
clothes
right?
and-
Yeah.
and bones.
Do I think he's right? It's tough to know because she's kind of just allowed to live there by Sauron.
I know that what you were saying about like her daughters is that like in the Lord of the Rings game, like you fight her daughters, and I think that's like a part of the books too, where like they fight her daughters. So
Yeah.
yeah, and it's also weird because like she's not a spider; she just like takes the form of a spider. Because like
Mhm.
spiders don't have that fucking
The stinger.
Yeah.
yes,
Well,
yeah,
yeah,
thing.
like I said, her mother was a spirit
yeah.
that just
Mhm.
took this dark form.
Yeah.
She was created out of the fucking void of darkness,
Uh-huh.
basically.
It's amazing. This whole story, people have been, like, Led Zeppelin took these things and turned them
Mhm.
into songs.
Yeah.
I don't think, like, a Star Wars.
Bilbo.
I don't think, like, Star Wars would have existed without some of these stories. I mean,
Mhm.
I started getting feelings of Star Wars movies coming out.
Lord of the
this
Rings
and
is kind of the
that.
reason that like trilogies are like
Yeah.
a major thing for like fantasy.
I have
so.
to agree. It's
Yeah.
just it's
Or were, I
amazing.
guess.
What is in here that you see parts of in so many other projects.
Yeah.
I just think it's crazy that like we can even talk about a Shelob's mom and like there's like actual lore behind it and like
Yeah.
things that it's caused that like caused other things.
Yeah.
That's
It's
called
crazy.
perfect world building.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You'd fucking
exactly.
love
You
Game
know.
of Thrones.
Yeah.
You gotta watch that. I saw an interesting thing. It was so lucky how they defeated Shelob.
Mm-hmm.
And like she's not even dead, you know.
No,
she
yeah,
just
no,
fucking
she's
crawled
alive.
back in.
Yeah.
But like
Yeah.
that elf light was
Mhm.
like pretty much one of the only things that can really get her away.
Well, yeah, because they're just like built out of darkness, so like
Yeah.
that light.
So it's just
It's
like
their one rival.
I wonder if there's like some thing in the books where like Galadriel knew that like it would
Oh, I'm
come
sure
in
she
handy,
did.
you know,
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
I'm
in
sure
that
she did.
specific way with
Mhm.
Shelob.
Galadriel's as powerful as
Mm-hmm.
Did she also have foresight?
she
Mhm.
does.
Yeah.
And they also, in the first movie, she has that water fountain,
Mhm.
whatever
Yeah.
it is,
Yeah.
the bird bath.
One other thing I wanted to say about the battles in this movie is that I fucking hate that they used the Wilhelm Scream twice.
Yeah, I noticed
You know,
that.
it was in the last one.
This one I noticed both, and I think it's just because it's the extended cut.
I feel like both scenes that happened and were kind of important.
Really?
Yeah.
Hmm.
I think it happened the second time Oliphant thing. right?
Yeah, definitely one of them during the Oliphant thing.
And then I think right at the start before the battle started.
Definitely a lot of battles in this one. Now straight on.
Yeah.
Took a while to get to them, though.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it's
definitely.
it's kind of like one big battle except
Mhm.
for the one at the gates.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I thought that fucking like flaming wolf thing that the orcs had was really interesting.
Mhm. To knock the door down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Almost like out of place, but not in a bad way.
Right.
Like why they would have that,
Right.
or like what even is that?
You mentioned before with the catapult in the head.
Oh, when they catapulted the
The heads.
heads,
Yeah.
The
that
heads
was-
over. Yeah, that's
Psychological warfare.
That would
Oh,
definitely freak you out.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. Good psychological warfare.
I like that
Yeah.
one moment where the leader orc guy is like, "Don't move from your places," and then
Yeah.
he moves when something like is about to crush him.
Calmly just stepped out of the way, though, you know?
Yeah, I like how they were firing off pieces of rubble.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It was almost at a point where like they were just throwing the same pieces back and
Back
forth.
and
you know?
forth. Yeah.
Did you like the ending of Gollum and
Which ending?
Which ending? Yeah.
the real ending?
Yeah, the real ending.
Yeah. He kind of deserved that shit.
Yeah.
It's almost
Makes
like a
sense.
little bit tragic too.
Yeah.
When they did that whole thing of his origin, though,
Yeah, I don't feel bad.
the ring stole his life.
He was already talking about like us at that point. So apparently,
he had a little bit of a problem.
So you think
in.
going
Yeah.
in he had a problem?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still am very
Bingo.
confused by the line that was the first where Gandalf is like, he was once something like a hobbit. I
Mhm.
think that is just a mistake.
Right.
It
No,
has to
in
be.
the
No, no.
books, some kind of hobbit, not just like a shire hobbit.
Right.
Mhm.
Well, just something like a hobbit barely makes sense to me. It's just so weird to me that that means that like people can evolve in like 500 years, you know.
I'm gonna search it up.
They're called halflings.
Yeah.
They're called. I mean, there's different
Because I can
names for-
understand like this hobbit from this region and not a hobbit from this region, but like
Right.
something like a hobbit is completely different.
He was a Storish hobbit.
Yeah, but like
Storish hobbit.
he's still a hobbit, not
Yeah.
something like a hobbit, you know.
Mhm.
What I don't understand is why he Elephant Man transforms into Gollum.
Hmm?
Like he has like very insane like transformation, facial transformation.
Oh, you
body-
mean the one moment specifically that I thought was weird was when he like closed his eyes and then they were suddenly big.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah,
So get the big eyes to see in the dark.
But
think
I
so.
think that's more so just creative liberty. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's almost like, oh, it's maybe been like 30 years since we last see him.
Mm.
You know, that one blink.
something interesting is that I don't think there's ever originally any depictions of Gollum, and just every artist just like kind of created the same thing, and that's why he looks the way.
Well,
he
I know
does.
that there was like one that was like really bad, and he like Tolkien like went back and retconned it. I think the first depiction was kind of just like a lizard. So
Interesting character though, and you kind of knew that he would follow the ring to its
Mhm.
destruction.
yeah,
And it would also be his
I
destruction.
honestly forgot that he was like alive the first time like I rewatched it or like actually made it to the end.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I thought like when he got kicked off, like he was fucking dead.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I like when he gets stung. He goes.
Spits up like a
Made
baby.
him shit himself.
Speaking of Frodo, though, I really like how it just fucking destroys him. I wonder, like, what would happen if, like, he just got the ring at that point? Like, would he be able to throw it in then? Or if it's just something where, like, the only thing that can make this ring get destroyed is chance.
Well, it's pretty much because Gollum has it on
Mhm.
him is why he can muster the strength to
Yeah.
go knock Gollum in.
It didn't even seem like he was trying to knock him in. It seemed like he was trying to
He
get
was
the
fight-
ring
He
again.
was,
Yeah.
he was fighting him for his ring and his finger, right?
Yeah.
He took his finger with the ring,
Yeah,
right?
he bit it off.
Yeah.
I fucking love that so much. It's
Yeah.
just like
That was such a great scene when he followed
Yeah.
the footsteps and then jumped on him. And
the fucking music and everything. It's
yeah.
just like dun dun
Yeah.
dun. You know,
Yeah.
the drums. It's just
Mhm.
fucking amazing.
Yeah.
too. I rewatched it like an hour ago.
Wow.
Don't you let go.
Yeah. It's just such a perfect ending.
Yeah.
You know, even though there's like 30 minutes after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy that there's that much time after that.
I actually enjoyed how, like, throughout the whole entire series, you see Frodo just get crippled by this fucking
Mhm.
ring.
Oh, yeah.
Same thing with Sam. The amount of shit they have to go through just to throw this thing into a lava pit.
Yeah.
And
It's
this would
crazy.
he never would have made this without Sam
Yeah.
as his cheerleader and his protector the whole way through.
Sam needs a lot of props.
Yeah.
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
I gotta say though, we watched the whole movie with Frodo getting a little bit at a time, a little more.
Yeah.
More, yeah.
Smeagol was 5 minutes into seeing the ring, he murdered his best friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a huge difference of
Mhm.
I think it's more something where like the ring works with how much evil is already in the person.
probably.
Yeah.
But he's had no exposure to the ring before that.
Yeah.
So it's like as soon as he laid eyes on
Yeah.
it,
Immediately. Just
Mhm.
process.
Yeah. The ring is mine.
It's my birthday. I want it.
Yeah. I feel like the whole thing about him having multiple personalities then, because he says wheeze, like I said, it's just weird. Because, like,
Yeah.
it almost feels like a mistake. Before this movie, you could kind of just assume that, like, the other personality is the ring.
the ring
Mhm.
is
Or
split.
what,
Yeah.
Gollum in the
Yeah.
ring.
Mhm.
Correct.
Unless he's just stupid. That is another theory I saw.
You know, if he was good, he would have been the best guide, though. He knew everything. Everything about all other
Yeah.
species or whatever and how to get everywhere.
Well, I mean, it's mainly just that one, like, path, I guess, you know,
Mm-hmm.
from wherever they were originally when they found him to
Mordor.
you
Yeah.
know. Viggo Mortensen is perfect as Aragorn again.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I do think this is the
favorite
movie I liked him
character.
the most.
Yeah.
Give up the ranger.
That was perfect. Give up
Mhm.
the ranger. And then he became who he was supposed to be.
Yeah, King. He tells that blonde bitch to go fuck herself.
I saw a great explanation for like the love triangle where it's not really supposed to be a love triangle.
It's not.
It's meant to be like this guy is like clearly just leading her on because like she needs it at that point, you know.
Yeah, I don't think he was giving her any signals that.
He definitely wasn't.
know.
He was pulling back. He wanted to give her confidence to be what she
Yeah.
really should be.
Yeah, absolutely.
She definitely proved her worth. You know, she was definitely great on the battlefield,
Yeah.
as was Merry was with her. Merry, I mean, he
So-
surprised me too.
What is Aragorn become king of? Rohan?
Gondor.
Gondor. Okay, so
I
then
think technically Rohan maybe.
I was thinking, I feel like she should lead Rohan.
I
'Cause
think
it's
she
kind
does.
of
I think
implied.
she
Yeah.
does.
She's going to marry
'Cause- yeah.
Faramir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
and
I-
the father basically gave it to her.
I feel like that's
So-
not true. The whole point is that she didn't want to do that. She didn't want to just be the king. She wanted to be the battle person.
Yeah. Well, the
And-
battle's over, so
Yeah.
I
I think it's-
she's
So
I
then
feel like
what,
it's
would
going to-
Carl Urban
Yeah.
become the king?
Aomen or whatever.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I guess I could see that. So like Carl Urban
Because
becomes
she even
king,
says
she
that
becomes
she
Carl
doesn't want
Urban's
to lead
position.
it to the father.
So she'll basically take her brother's place, and the
And then
brother
he'll
will be
move
the
up.
king.
Yeah, I could see that. And you know what? There was a lot of heart-wrenching scenes in this movie. None of them got me except when King Théoden was dying and the conversation that he had with her.
Yeah, because
That one got me.
when you first met him, he was under that spell, and you didn't. I didn't know what to expect. Is this really the guy? Is he really under a spell? And then when he came out, he was actually one of the sweetest people in this.
Yeah.
You know, and he just wanted to make his people safe, and he died doing it.
Yeah. Also, like, it ties back. She says, like, something along the lines that, like, he and Aragorn, like, are, like, great men or something.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, oh, no, I'm no great man. Or something like that. Like, he just doesn't, you know, take to it. But then he does die, you know, like you said,
Dies a
protecting
hero,
his people. And
Died a hero.
Just confirm it is her brother Eamor or whatever. How
That
we
takes
pronounce
over as
that,
king.
yeah, and then she takes his job basically.
yeah, it's, I guess you can
Yeah.
believe that.
Kind of like a bannerman, I guess.
Yeah.
It's interesting that Aragorn will become king of Gondor.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what, Faramir just be living in Rohan then?
Pretty much what he is, like what they are, is like they're kind of just like, I guess you don't even know this term, but maybe you'll be able to figure it out. But like he's the hand of the king almost,
Mm-hmm.
technically.
Faramir?
Yeah,
Yeah.
where like he just kind of like helps, I guess.
Would he not have been next in line, though, technically?
No, because they were never kings.
They were never kings.
Oh, okay.
That's and then
I see what you
the
mean.
true
Okay.
king would make that tree bloom.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I see.
So they were never born to be it.
No.
still a little confused as to there were how many rings made for men? 9, right?
Something like that. 9.
So where are the 9 kingdoms? Because basically in the story we only see 2.
I mean, are we just led to believe that they've all fallen?
Yeah,
Aside from
pretty
these?
much.
So what happened to those rings?
Yeah.
It was the
Mm.
kings who became the Nazgul.
Oh, that makes sense actually.
Right. So that was
Because-
the 9
yeah.
original ring holders.
Mhm.
That's why they search for the rings.
Yeah, but who
I
has
get
the
it
rings?
now.
Well, didn't the
The
rings
Nazgul have
combine?
it.
Well,
The
that's
Nazgul have
have
their
them.
rings.
Yes, because Sauron, in this at least, I think it's different in the books, but Sauron deceived the kings.
yeah.
So,
Mm-hmm.
So there's no kings for there's no rings for men.
no more.
No more on the planet.
Yeah. They're just nothing of value.
Yeah.
Because even at the end, she said there's no need.
Galadriel?
Yeah, Galadriel said there's no need for the rings anymore as well. She says that's it. She even gave her ring back.
The only time I remember her in this movie, I'm pretty sure it's when like Frodo passes out for 5 seconds, right around like Shelob's lair.
With Shelob.
Yeah.
But then I think
then
at
she-
the end she's there
Like,
also.
3 Elven Rings, Nenya, Galadriel's, Vilya, Elrond's, and Narya. Cerdans, later Gandalf's, were not directly corrupted, but their power was still tied to the One Ring. Oh, they lost their power, yeah.
Yeah,
What you said.
After the destruction
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
the one.
yeah,
But
Yeah.
where the hell are they up until the destruction of the one?
Galadriel has hers.
yeah.
Galadriel
Yeah,
has
yeah,
hers.
she's-
I'm pretty sure
Definitely
Gandalf had one,
Mm-hmm.
and Elrond had one.
Yeah.
Elrond.
I have to imagine they're not of great power at that point either then.
I mean, I don't even know what they really do, honestly.
Yeah. I just always assumed that like they were kind of just bullshit and the One Ring was the true one,
Yeah.
and it was just to deceive everybody.
I feel like they all had power. I mean, it's like fucking fantasy. Like, what is a ring of power?
They all
You know?
had power, right? They all had power. The one ring that controlled them all was actually made in secret. Nobody knew about.
Mm-hmm.
Each one did have an actual power that was
Yeah.
different depending on the user. You know,
Whoever the
person
Lord of the
wearing it.
Rings was
Yeah.
at the time. So through these movies, pretty much it was Frodo.
Yeah.
But he just had to.
No,
he
I
had
mean,
to go
like
destroy
for me,
it.
I was just curious that if these rings are out there,
Yeah.
nobody has presented it in the 3 movies.
Yeah.
When Frodo has the ring on,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we see the rings on them.
So they took the rings. They were buried with their rings or whatever. They
I
took
guess
their
so,
rings.
probably.
With
The music completely carries so many moments. Especially, I think my favorite one is, other than the ending, because that's just like a great moment. They arrive to Minas Morgul, and the Nazgul like fly over, and it's just like, just fucking amazing moment.
Yeah.
Jack becomes an instrument.
Saxophone.
Yeah, music has definitely moved you along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even that one scene when everything's done and they're like the lava's all around them, they're just sitting on that one rock.
SpongeBob and Patrick.
Yeah, SpongeBob and Patrick.
Definitely taken from this.
And you think it's done, and they think it's done. They're just sitting there. Okay, this is it. We're never going home, and this and that. Then he flies in with the eagles. I just thought that was nice, and the music in that part was nice too.
Yeah, I saw like a one plot hole that I don't really believe in because like, I saw a better explanation for it. But like, oh, why couldn't the Eagles just have taken them there in the first place? But like, one, they're not like a taxi service, and two, they would have gotten taken down. So
Yeah.
Aragorn's transformation into a leader just felt completely earned. The
Yeah.
you bow to no one moment just like solidifies him as like
I
what
love-
type of leader
I
he
love
is.
That was cool.
Yeah, so powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd say he's probably my favorite character in these.
Yeah.
It's the type of movie where you can watch it 10 different times and each time pick a character to be like your character throughout it. I don't know. I just loved his arc in this one though. This watch.
Speaking of the closing of arcs, I really enjoyed the multiple endings, and they just gave each character closure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I said, everyone has something to do, especially in this one, unless you're an elf or a dwarf.
I felt extremely happy for Sam. Got the courage to, get the girl that he wanted, and then, at the end, then you see that he's not only has that, but he has family.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought that was a nice ending for him. And he just lost his best friend, but still, or somebody that became his best friend because of the journey. I mean,
They were definitely best friends,
Yeah.
I'd say.
but going through a journey like that definitely solidified, their relationship.
Yeah.
Wait, what do you mean that he lost him though?
Because at the end he leaves.
Oh, yeah.
Bilbo.
Yeah, because Bilbo and Frodo get on the boat
Mm-hmm.
and they're
Can I
gone.
see that ring one last time?
Yeah. I like the way they played him. Like he's like the older, half senile.
Yeah. Even now, this is the gold standard for epic fantasy.
Yeah.
Just, like, I feel like most people would say it's a perfect fantasy movie, or just like the best at least.
I'd say the CGI in this one is probably the worst of the three. And it's not even bad, necessarily.
Like, what specific?
Just like even the way like Gollum looks at points and when like the buildings are getting kind of broken by the rubble, like just looks like pixel. Like I don't even. It looks
It's like
Tetris blocks.
Almost a
bit.
little bit worse than like having a miniature.
Yeah, I mean it's not bad per se, and it's held up damn good.
I
by
thought the
years.
elephants was really done
Yeah,
well.
they
you
look
know?
great. All
Yeah.
the creatures look great, pretty much, except for like I think it's because of the extended cut. Maybe like a good bit of the Gollum stuff looks a little raw.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's just not polished.
Pretty sure it's supposed to be worse than The Hobbit.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not bad per se though, but it's definitely the worst of the three. Maybe it's just because the most CGI heavy.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I think this movie has the best cinematography.
Yeah.
I'd say like 2 and 3 are close, but this one edges it out. My least favorite scene is the negotiation scene with the mouth of Sauron. I just felt like I don't really like it as like a start to like one of the greatest scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It just feels like it feels like a little bit too obvious. Like, oh, he has big teeth.
It had a good ending.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's like okay, setup. I wonder if that means that Sam is gonna get the mithril shirt.
Mm.
I'd probably have to agree with you on that, just because like this one's probably the closest to a 10 for me.
I hated the scene when he thought his son was dead
Yeah.
and he was going to burn him, and something just didn't play out right in the whole thing for me. I mean, I kind of knew he had to die there. I didn't think he had to burn to death. I think they could have just had him
I feel like it was weird
Just-
because like
die maybe in battle, or though he was a coward.
they
but still.
set it up where like the only reason he was like going insane was because Boromir died, and not because like I said in the books he has a plant ear. So
Yeah.
I'm always confused. I hated that scene too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm always confused as what the fuck does Gandalf do? You know, in some scenes he could like throw people,
And then this
100
time he
feet,
actually
and
had a
then there's
battle.
a guy you want to stop, and he's
Yeah.
like walking around him. You know,
Yeah.
leaving it
Yeah.
up to the halfling to stop him.
There was definitely a good bit of like all these movies where it's like, what does his staff do? Like, doesn't he like know spells?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a very weird mix of like hard magic with rules and like soft magic where it's kind of just like waving shit around.
Him and Saruman were throwing each other up in the
Yeah.
air.
Yeah.
Dancing
Yeah.
in midair.
Couldn't he have put the fire out? I mean, I don't know. You know, it's like
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a stupid scene.
that scene specifically takes so long to play out.
Yeah.
That's what I said.
Agree.
Just took too long. Yeah.
I mean, I liked seeing him burn for some reason.
Oh
That
boy.
is a shitty.
Yeah, it is kind of weird that like Gandalf just fucking let him die, you know?
And
Like he
he's
definitely
even
could have
like,
saved him.
There he goes. He like announces his death too.
there was the other confusing scene with that Ringwraith, whatever they are, the Nazgûl,
Nazgûl.
Yeah.
when he purposely was there to break Gandalf, and he destroys his staff. I mean, he literally had him, and then they fly away because he heard
The
the
horns.
horn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm saying to myself,
You're right there. Just you could have finished this job and ran off.
Yeah.
Because he even paused and waited. And
yeah,
then
I
went.
mean, you know,
Yeah.
you had the
Yeah.
the guy.
It's always a weird
and-
thing.
I
Yeah.
at first thought that it was Sauron like calling them all to battle, which I could understand.
But then I would understand it.
Yeah.
But
just
I
like
don't know.
an orc fucking blowing a
Yeah.
horn, like who cares?
Well, it wasn't an orc, I thought. It was like, wasn't it the rival of Rohan?
Yeah.
oh
yeah, right. It wasn't even right.
And like they didn't even do shit. They kind of just let them charge, like extended charge. So it just doesn't make sense. I just hate that trope where like it's kind of similar where like somebody's about to get found and then like they had a walkie-talkie, like you know, come over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
yeah.
I'd say this is honestly worse than that though.
Yeah, that because that reminded me of that other stupid scene when he had Frodo.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like 3 feet away from him.
Yeah.
Somebody
I guess
shoots one
that-
arrow.
Yeah.
That at least made sense in the fact that like I guess one bow, one arrow like solves the issue. I guess, but like yeah, this was just weirder. My favorite scene is either the arrival of Rohan to Minas Tirith or for Frodo to the destruction of the ring.
Yeah.
It's that whole like sequence.
For Frodo's pretty good. I think I'm gonna go with Sam's battle against Shelob.
Yeah, that was a good one.
I am going to go with the girl killing.
That's what I was going to go with.
And not just that scene, but everything, how they played up to that scene. I mean, if Mary didn't distract him for that split second,
The way that thing dies too. You're talking about the.
it was
the-
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like combusts in.
Yeah,
on
and
him.
that was the Witch King, I guess, because that was a little more powerful than the other Ringwraiths. But that was my favorite scene.
Yeah.
I think my favorite scene was when Gollum tracks Frodo invisible and jumps on him, and then they fight for the ring.
Yeah, it's just like the cinematography in that moment is perfect. Just like the fog, the way he's like stumbling over to him.
Yep. And then battle, and then when you think that Frodo kills him, but he comes back again.
For me, it's got to be either because I did enjoy Frodo, the ring doing what it's got to do. Just him smile and put it back on. That was like, oh, God fucking damn it. But watching Gollum fly off was like, oh, such a relief. The ending, though, was my favorite, though. When they all see each other again. They're all back in the Shire, and it was just cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
The multiple endings are pretty great.
Yeah.
It's like
I
30
like
minutes
the
The
endings.
endings were really, really
Yeah.
nice.
I do think it's funny when all the hobbits are standing at like the ceremony.
Yeah.
Just like it just looks fucking funny.
Yeah, there's like some weird CGI moments there too.
Yeah. But again, I thought they did it pretty well with the different
Yeah.
perspectives of them.
Yeah, it's just like a weird composite. You know?
What I thought was cool was because I myself forgot totally that Frodo and Gandalf, the last time they saw each other, was Gandalf dying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Frodo, in his knowledge through the whole,
He was dead. You're right.
and then when he woke up at the very end and seen Gandalf,
He thought he was dead.
but I had forgot about that.
Just
You
like
know,
all
I
that
was like,
laughing.
oh shit, yeah, Frodo didn't know.
You want to hear something funny that I saw in an interview? Christopher Lee refused to scream for any of these movies.
Really? Why?
Just didn't want to scream, apparently.
Well, I know there's like one famous quote where he's like, "Do you really want to know how somebody who's getting stabbed acts?" You know,
It's fucking just psychopath.
there's like a whole thing where like he's the guy that like James Bond is based on, or like one of them. It's like a composite character.
Yeah.
Like he's one of the people. So
Wow.
yeah, because he's like fucking British intelligence.
So also back to the Wilhelm Scream thing, I just like when I heard it, I just like in my head it was like Peter Jackson's probably like, oh yeah, little Wilhelm Scream in here. Fucking big.
It's even funnier the second time.
Fucking nerd.
Just for the fact, it has nothing to do with this movie, but just for the fact that we've just recently finished it, Rings of Power explains so much.
Yeah.
Because it's pre this movie.
Isn't it like right before the battle at the start of the prologue?
Correct. Yes, it's just before that.
Yeah.
But you get a little more sense of like Galadriel and the elves, what they're doing, the men, the kings, and what kind of assholes they are. And Sauron, what he was doing before. It's a worth watch. I think that they're up to the second season now.
What is the new movie about?
A sudden attack by Wolf, spelled with a U, a clever and traitorous lord of Rohan seeking vengeance for the death of his father, forces Helm Hammerhand, the king of Rohan, and his people to make a daring last stand in the ancient stronghold of Hornburg, set 183 years before the events chronicled in the original trilogy of films.
I don't shit.
I know they're making a movie that's like in between The Hobbit or Lord of the Rings, The Hunt for Gollum. So it's Aragorn looking for Gollum, other people.
Oh yeah, I fucking did see that.
And like what's funny is in the books, it's not a tale worth telling. So like it's not even in the books or
Oh
anything.
boy.
So yeah, I'm sure that'll be great.
If anything, it would just be interesting to have a Gollum movie.
Yeah, I mean he kind of did just like waste away for 500 years. So
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It seems like he's got interesting lore. He kind of like is known by everyone.
my rating for the whole trilogy, like I said, they're all 9.5s. But for the trilogy alone, I put this one at an 8 or maybe an 8.5. I don't know.
See, and I'm at a 9.5 on this one. This is my highest rating out of them all. I just thought it flowed really well. I liked the way that the story unraveled and went along, and there was a lot of action in it. What drew back a little bit was some of the scene jumps were a little bit weird. But other than that, I thought it flowed really well.
Power to you.
I'm gonna go 9.5 as well.
Yep, 9.5 for me. As far as the trilogy and this particular one was, 9.5.
Yeah, I enjoyed
It
it.
was a good ending.
Solid 9 because it was slow.
So if you had to rank
Sometimes.
them, like what would they be? Because for me, it's 2, 3, 1.
3, 1, 2.
1, 3, 2.
Interesting.
I'm
You know why
same as
one-
Uncle Nicky.
I think that first fucking 20 minutes,
Yeah.
that narrative
Oh,
getting
yeah.
into
Yep,
the,
yep.
just
Yeah.
like set you up so well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, the rest of the movies were great, but walking in blind and having somebody just kind of
I also think 1 has the best ending. I just feel like
Yeah.
it ends. I know, like we're ending in the middle of a story, but it does feel like it ends perfectly.
right.
Yeah, I guess coming in here, I was thinking 3 would have been my favorite. But you already go in there with all this knowledge from 1 and 2, so it makes it easier to flow through it.
Yeah.
So I think I'm the same way. It's 1, 3, and 2 is how I would do it. I know you like 2 first.
Yeah.
2, 3, 1.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, 1 was your least favorite.
Yeah. 3 and 1 are very close. I just like the mix of action and everything in 1 more. Or
The 2
3
and
more.
3 more. Yeah.
And the cinematography I just fucking don't like that much in 1. So yeah, I guess that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings has been conquered. All right, that concludes the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Next time on Cape Critiquers, we will be watching Rise of the Guardian.
Jolly.
Merry Christmas.
See you in a week.
Happy holidays. Happy holidays.
Someone who knows how to have a little fun.